I picked up weekend overtime as a building super because the regular guy bailed. My role was handle lockouts plus leaks, and my plan was simple. Do a quick boiler check, collect the trash fines, and crash early before Monday. I wasn't trying to be a hero. I wanted the extra cash and a quiet night. Of course it wasn't quiet. The building's old, everybody's stressed, and the minute you were the keys, you become the target for every bad thing that happens in their life. Before midnight, I'd already had 2 fights. One guy on 2B blocked me in the hallway over a missing package, talking fast, spitting, accusing me like I had some secret hustle. I told him to check with the carrier, and he called me a useless prick. Then on 5, this lady got on me about trash fines like I invented rules for fun. Her bags were ripped open in the shoot room, food rot leaking everywhere, and she still tried to argue it was probably kids. I showed her the camera clip. She flipped to, "You're harassing me." Like that makes the smell go away. I finished the boiler check around 1. Pressure was high, valves sweating, so I bled it down and tightened what I could. My hands smelled like old metal and basement water. I locked up, went back to my unit, ate cold leftovers, and crashed on the couch with my boots half off. Phone on my chest. Bat by the door because rats in this place are bold as hell. Around 3 a.m., my hallway camera pinged motion 3 times. Same corner, same buzz. I checked the live feed and saw nothing moving, just a slice of stairwell and my own damn reflection in the glass of the fire door. The picture stuttered, froze, came back. I stared until my eyes burned, waiting for a shadow to cross. Nothing. I told myself it was the heat kicking on or the camera being cheap. Then my door chain rattled once, soft like someone testing it with a fingernail. Not a knock, not a shove, a test. I didn't call out. I didn't act tough. I grabbed the flashlight and the bat and stood there listening, trying to make my breathing smaller. No footsteps, no elevator, just pipes ticking and that faint hiss you get when the radiators wake up. I cracked the door a hair with the chain still on and aimed the light into the hall. Nothing. The stairwell light sat there like a flat sheet. I shut the door again and walked my unit, slow, checking what I could without turning my back for too long. Living room, window latched. Kitchen, window latched. Bathroom, empty. I started to feel stupid for even moving around like this, like I was scaring myself for free. Then I smelled it in my bedroom. Not smoke, not trash. Warm, wet human funk like sweat trapped under plastic. It rolled out of my closet door in little puffs. That sounds insane, I know, but it did. Like the closet was breathing. I aimed the flashlight at the seam and saw the crack shift, the tiniest movement like pressure from the other side. My stomach went cold. I tightened my grip on the bat and yanked the door hard. A man sat inside on his heels, knees to his chest, wearing my spare hoodie. My actual hoodie. He had my keyring in one hand and a roll of duct tape in the other, tape edge already peeled up like he'd been waiting. He wasn't some confused drunk. His eyes were awake. He looked at me like I was the problem. My brain went blank. I didn't yell. I didn't swing. I just stood there holding a bat like it was decorative, like I'd walked in my own room by mistake. He moved first. He exploded out of the closet and smacked the bat out of my grip like it weighed nothing. The bat rang off the dresser. I hit the wall shoulder first and saw stars. I tried to grab him and caught fabric for half a second, my hoodie on his back, then it tore out of my hand. He was already at my door. He tore the chain right off the frame. Not unlatched, ripped. Screws popped, wood cracked, metal snapped against metal. The sound was so loud, I thought somebody would open their door and come out. Nobody did. He was gone into the stairwell before I could take a full breath. I rushed into the hall 2 steps and stopped because my head finally caught up. Chasing him down a stairwell barefoot is how you end up dead in the dark. I listened instead. I heard the fire door swing. I heard the lobby door thump. Nothing else. No running, no panic. Like he knew exactly how much noise he could make and still disappear. I did go down after a minute, slower, keeping the wall at my side. The lobby felt wrong. The camera dome over the mailboxes was turned a few degrees, aimed at a blank patch of wall. Somebody had nudged it. The front door was shut, like nothing happened. Outside was empty street and a couple parked cars and that same dead 3 a.m. quiet that makes you feel stupid for being scared. Back upstairs, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I locked the deadbolt and stared at the broken chain plate on the floor like it was a tooth. That's when the real details started landing, one after another, each one worse than the last. My bedroom window lock had fresh scratches on it, shiny lines in the paint like someone worked it with a flat tool and got mad when it didn't give fast enough. My kitchen knife, the long one, not the cheap junk, was sitting on the bathroom sink, blade wet like it had been rinsed. I stood there staring at it, trying to remember using it, and I couldn't because I hadn't. Then I saw my phone, face down on my bed, recording video. I flipped it over and the red dot was there. I scrubbed the timeline with my thumb and my stomach turned. It was me sleeping, mouth open, dead to the world. The camera angle was low, set like someone placed it carefully. You could hear my breathing in the audio. And under it, quieter, you could hear another breathing. Controlled. Close. I skipped forward and caught frames where his shoulder slid into view, my hoodie on him, my keys flashing in the light. In one part, he leaned toward the bed, just enough that the camera caught his jaw. Then he backed away like he was testing how close he could get before I woke up. He didn't touch me. He didn't have to. The duct tape in his hand made the rest of the sentence for me. I called 911 with my finger numb against the screen. The dispatcher kept me talking while I paced with the bat back in my hand, like that mattered now. When the cops finally showed up, they walked my place like they were checking a busted smoke alarm. One of them stared at the ripped chain and told me I should upgrade the hardware. I snapped and told him it was upgraded 5 minutes ago by a guy tearing it off like paper. Another asked if I'd maybe left the door open. I wanted to punch him. They took the video, took photos of the window lock, wrote down unknown mail like that's a solution, and left me with my busted door in my own shaking hands. After they left, the owner called instead of coming in. He asked if anything was damaged like we were talking about drywall. I told him somebody was in my closet with duct tape, and he started whining about replacing cameras and locks, about budgets, about how crime happens. I told him to get fucked and hung up. I spent my own money at the hardware store when it opened. New deadbolt, new chain screwed into studs, window alarms. I didn't feel safer. I just needed my hands busy so I didn't puke. Tenants started texting later that morning because rumors spread fast in a building. Half of them acted like it was my fault for making enemies. The package guy from 2B even tried to float that it was probably someone I find, like that makes it normal, like the fix is for me to stop doing my job so I don't get hunted in my sleep. I didn't sleep the next night. I sat on the couch until dawn, boots on, every light in the unit blazing, listening for another soft rattle. I kept replaying the video until my battery died. Like if I watched it enough, I'd find a clean reason for it. There wasn't one. He wasn't breaking in for money. He didn't take my TV. He didn't take my wallet. He didn't even take the knife. He left it where I'd see it. He left the phone where I couldn't miss it. He took my keys, my hoodie, my sense that a locked door means anything. He wanted me awake and thinking. He wanted me to know how easy it was. I kept expecting to find some logical scrap, mud on the sill, a footprint, a neighbor who saw him. Nothing. Just that closet smell hanging in my room like a damp rag. My spare hoodie was gone for good, and my key ring wasn't just my unit key. It was boiler, roof, storage, the whole set. I told the owner we had to rekey common doors. He tried to push it to next week. I told him there is no next week when somebody's running around with master keys. After, I found the real horror. My bedroom window lock had scratches, my kitchen knife was on the bathroom sink, and my phone was face down on the bed, recording video. He'd already filmed me sleeping. He wasn't breaking in to steal. He was breaking into practice. I took a one-day job with a junk haul crew because my bank account was bleeding. I was the guy who clears foreclosed units, and my plan was to empty a small house fast, get paid cash, and not think about the smell or the neighbors. The gig came through a dude I barely knew. One of those I got a truck and a trailer guys who post in local groups. He texted me an address and a time and said, "Cash, same day, no questions." That should have been a red flag. I didn't care. Rent was due, and my overdraft was doing that thing where it feels like a hand around your throat. I pulled up, and the place looked normal from the street. Small ranch, tired paint, dead grass, nothing smashed, nothing tagged. But every window had cheap blinds nailed shut. Not closed, nailed. Little silver heads along the edges like somebody hated light and wanted to make damn sure it stayed out. The air around the porch felt stale, like the house was exhaling through the cracks. My boss showed up 2 minutes later, loud as hell, acting like he owned the block. He had a cigarette glued to his lip and a kind of grin that never hit his eyes. Another guy climbed out with him, skinny, jittery, sweating even though it was cold. Neither of them asked my name. They just shoved contractor bags at me and said move. We popped the lock and the door stuck for a second, like it didn't want to open. When it finally gave, the smell rolled out and hit us. Old food, wet carpet, stale piss, and something sour-sweet under it that made my jaw tighten. The power was off. The place sat in dim gray, like dusk trapped indoors. Dust floated in the beam from the doorway and stuck to my face as soon as I started breathing. We started bagging trash, stacking furniture, swearing at the dead fridge. The fridge door hung open an inch, and there was a dark drip line down the front. My boss told me to tape it shut and haul it. I told him, fuck no, not until he wrapped it. He called me princess. I called him cheap. He stepped in close like he wanted to swing. The skinny guy laughed too loud, like a dog barking at thunder. I didn't back up, mostly because I didn't have anywhere to go. Boss finally threw a roll of plastic at me and told me to quit stalling. We wrestled the fridge out, and flies burst out of the kitchen like we'd cracked a seal. The skinny guy gagged and wiped his mouth on his sleeve. Boss kept talking non-stop, like noise could drown out whatever that smell was trying to tell us. He kept repeating we were in and out, dump run, paid, simple. Room by room, we cleared. Bags, boxes, busted lamps, a couch that felt damp when I grabbed it. Mail piled on the counter, unopened. Kid stuff here and there, one tiny sneaker, a torn cartoon blanket, then nothing else that felt like a kid lived there. No photos, no drawings, just leftovers, like someone emptied the personal parts and left the rot. In the hallway, I found a door that had been kicked in once and patched. The wood around the knob splintered, then painted over. In the bathroom, the mirror had streaks down it, like someone kept pressing their forehead to the glass. I didn't say anything. I kept moving because that's what you do on these jobs. You pretend you're cleaning a mess, not erasing a life. The back bedroom was colder than the rest, and the air didn't move. The carpet had a damp spot near the wall that made my boot squeak. The closet sat in the corner. Its knob turned easy, but the door didn't budge. Not a little. It held like somebody on the other side had their whole weight against it. I tried my shoulder. The frame flexed, then snapped back. Skinny guy said maybe it was jammed on junk. Boss didn't even look. He just told me to kick it. I told him that wasn't normal. He snapped that everything in the place was not normal, and if I didn't kick it, I could get out. I kicked. The frame cracked, and the door swung in. It wasn't a closet. It was a little room built behind the closet, plywood walls tight and bare, no light, just a space to stand. The air inside felt warmer, thicker, like it had been trapped and sweating. The floor was layered with towels. They were stiff and dark, stuck together in places like they dried after being soaked. In the corner sat a plastic bucket with a lid, and the lid had teeth marks all along it, deep bites that made the plastic look chewed and torn. Not dog marks. Human desperation, like somebody had been locked in there long enough to start biting whatever they could reach. My stomach dropped so hard I got dizzy. I stared like an idiot, trying to tell myself it was some prank, some kink shit, some weird storage choice. Then I saw a phone charger stapled to the wall, stapled straight through the cord jacket, like whoever did it didn't care if it worked later, just needed it to stay put. Above it, a cheap kid's sticker chart taped crooked. Monday through Sunday, rows of gold stars. But the stars weren't for chores. The labels were times. 8:30, 11:10, 2:05. Same set of times repeating, some checked off, some blank. Like feeding times, like visiting times, like somebody kept a schedule because a schedule makes cruelty feel clean. I said we had to call someone. I didn't even say who. I just said it out loud because my brain needed another voice in the room. Boss finally looked and his face went flat. Not shocked, not curious, just pissed, like the room was an inconvenience. He said no, quick, like a reflex. I asked him what the fuck he meant, and the skinny guy backed into the hallway like he wanted distance, like he thought the room could touch him. Boss started running his mouth fast and nasty. He said we'd get blamed. He said we'd be stuck talking to cops for days. He said if we opened our mouths, the realtor would sue, the bank would sue, everyone would sue, and we'd end up broke and branded. I told him we were already broke and someone was in here. He shot back that I didn't know that, like he needed the doubt to survive. I stepped closer and the towels shifted under my boot with that stiff, crunchy sound. The smell got worse. Sweet rot, piss, bleach, and something metallic. I lifted one towel corner with my glove and saw more towels underneath, layered like someone kept trying to cover stains instead of cleaning them. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe right. Boss grabbed my arm and yanked me back hard enough to twist my shoulder. He hissed that if I called anyone, he'd tell them I built the room. He said he had my name in the text thread. He said he'd say I showed up first. He said whatever came to his mouth, because he was panicking and cruel people go mean when they panic. I told him he was a piece of shit. He told me I want to play hero because I liked attention. Skinny guy kept whispering we should leave like he was praying. Boss shoved the door shut, slammed it, then put his weight against it like it might pop back open. He slapped duct tape across the latch and said it was jammed and we were done. He tried to laugh. His laugh sounded fake and scared. I stood there shaking, staring at that tape knob. I kept waiting for pounding from inside, some sound, anything that would force my hand. The house stayed quiet. That silence felt like an answer I didn't want. We went back to work. I hate admitting that. I kept arguing, low and ugly. Boss kept threatening, louder now, like he needed the other guy to hear him be in charge. At one point, he jabbed a finger in my chest and said if I called anyone, he'd dump my stuff on the curb and tell them I stole from the house. I told him to try it. He smiled like he'd already done worse to other people. Skinny guy kept staring at the floor like he was watching his own shoes drown. By late afternoon, the trailer was loaded. Boss counted out bills with dirty fingers and shoved them at me like a payoff. I almost threw them back. I didn't. I took them because my hands moved on autopilot, because shame doesn't pay late fees. I drove home with the windows down and my head pounding. I dumped my clothes straight into the washer and still the smell clung to my fingers. That night, I couldn't wash the stink off my hands. I scrubbed until my knuckles split, then scrubbed again. I opened my phone and typed the address like I was going to report it, then deleted it, then typed it again. I hit the non-emergency number once and hung up before it rang because I heard Boss's voice in my head, promising he'd drag me into it. That's the ugliest part. I let fear and money beat the right thing for a few more hours. 2 days later, the listing went back up online as freshly cleaned. I checked because I couldn't stop myself. The photos looked brighter, like someone cranked the exposure to bleach the truth. New carpet in the bedroom. Fresh white closet door. No mention of repairs. No mention of additional space. Nothing. The closet door got replaced. The house stayed quiet. And I kept seeing those teeth marks on plastic like a human being turned into an animal because someone decided they could. I ran social media for a small gym because I needed steady hours. My role was posting promos and answering DMs, and my plan was to schedule a week of content, block creeps, and keep my personal life out of it. I treated that account like a mop bucket. Use it, rinse it, don't drag it through your own house. I'd post a membership deal, answer, yes, we have showers, remind people about the Saturday class, then log out. No selfies, no my day at the gym. Nothing that connected the voice on that page to the person who rode the elevator to 4B every night and just wanted quiet. Then a new account started messaging every time I posted. Not sometimes, every single time. Like he sat there refreshing, waiting for the second the post went up. First it was compliments with that fake friendly tone, like he was talking through clenched teeth. "You're doing great. Love this place." Then it slid into demands. Reply: "Who runs this page? Send a pic." Well, I kept it business. Links, hours, emojis. He got nasty fast, like the gym account had personally humiliated him. He'd type a wall of shit, delete it, send another like he was pacing in his own head, and I could hear the stomping. I blocked him. It felt routine, like swatting a fly. Next day, he came back on a new account. Same profile photo, slightly zoomed. Same weird little typo. Same rhythm. Praise, push, rage. Blocked. New one. Blocked. Another. He kept coming back like a cockroach that learned my name, and the worst part was he wasn't spamming randomly. He was tracking me. He'd reference little things from posts that only someone watching close would notice. He'd ask about the trainer in the background. He'd ask why I posted at the time I posted. He'd act like the person behind the account was a girlfriend who stopped texting. I tried ignoring him instead of blocking, because blocking turned into a game for him, but then he started tagging the gym in comments with little threats disguised as jokes. I'd delete them. He'd repost. I'd delete again. He'd escalate. It turned my job into a stupid constant fight where I had to keep smiling on the feed while I kept scraping his fingerprints off it. I told the owner we had a problem. He gave me this half laugh like, "Welcome to the internet, kid." He told me to stop feeding it and keep posting, like the algorithm was going to protect me. Then the gifts started arriving at the front desk. First was a bouquet, not a cheap grocery store bunch either. A heavy vase, fancy ribbon, the kind of thing you send to make sure everyone sees it and talks about it. No card, just a receipt taped to it with my full name printed clean, like a label on evidence. My legal name, the one I don't use anywhere public. The front desk girls squealed and started teasing, and the trainers joined in like it was entertainment. They made it about me having a secret admirer, and I could feel my face doing that stupid polite smile while my stomach tightened into a knot. I picked up the receipt and read it 3 times like it would change. Full name, not a handle, not a nickname, full fucking name. I went straight to the owner again. He waved it off. "Flowers happen. Fans happen. It's good for the brand," he said, like I should be grateful someone was treating me like a target in public. I wanted to scream at him that I wasn't a brand. I was a person, but at work you swallow a lot of things and call it professionalism. 2 days later, another gift showed up. A box of protein bars, the expensive kind, stacked neat like he cared about presentation. A note was tucked inside. One line. It used my old address, the one I hadn't lived at for years. That address wasn't on my current lease, wasn't on my profile, wasn't something you just stumble across unless you go digging. I stood there holding that note and felt my hand start to shake. Not dramatic shaking, just this ugly physical reaction like my nerve were trying to jump out of my skin. The girls started laughing again, grabbing bars like it was a snack tray. One of them said I was being paranoid. That word hit me like a slap. I snapped. I told them to stop touching his shit. I told them he had my old address, and that meant he wasn't flirting. He was searching. They got offended, like I'd accused them of something. One of them rolled her eyes and said, "Relax." I told her to fuck off. I hated myself for saying at work, but I hated them more for turning it into a joke. After that, I tightened everything. New passwords, 2-factor, privacy settings cranked down. I locked my socials, purged followers, wiped old posts, stopped using my real name on anything that didn't require it. I changed my voicemail greeting. I stopped tagging locations. I stopped doing anything that left a trail. It didn't matter. It was like he already had what he needed. A few days later, he posted a thread. Not on the gym page. Somewhere else. Somewhere nasty. He put my phone number and my mother's number in it like he was handing out flyers. Under that, he posted photos of my apartment door taken from the hallway. No face, no body, just my peephole, my doormat, the scratch on the frame near the lock. He got close enough that the lens caught the texture of the paint. He stood there long enough to frame the shot. I stared at those pictures until my throat went dry. It wasn't online harassment anymore. It was my building, my hallway, the place outside my door where I'm supposed to feel safe enough to take my shoes off. I called my mom first. I told her to stop answering unknown calls, to not tell anyone where she lives, to not engage. She tried to calm me down in that soft voice mothers use when they're terrified and don't want to make you worse. Then I called the cops. I expected, I don't even know, urgency, interest, something. The officer who took my report looked at my screenshots like I'd handed him a parking ticket. He asked if the guy had threatened me directly. He asked if I knew him. He asked if I'd posted too much personal info. He asked if my mom really needed to have her number on the report. I wanted to grab him by the collar and shove the photo of my door into his face. I kept my voice steady because I've seen how they look at women who get emotional. I said, he took pictures outside my unit. He has my old address. He has posting numbers. The cop gave me that tired look like I'd brought him a problem he can't punch. He said they could document it. He said I should keep blocking and reporting. He told me to be careful. That was it. Document. Careful. Like I'd spilled coffee on myself. I left that station feeling stupid for thinking anyone would help until something worse happened. I went back to the gym and told the owner I was done. I told him I wanted off the account immediately. He started arguing about brand consistency and tone and how members were used to me. That word, tone, made me see red. I told him someone had been at my door. I told him the thread had my mother's number. He still tried to negotiate, like he was buying time. He said we could have someone else assist, like I was asking for help lifting a box. I told him I wasn't coming back to that desk. He started saying I was being dramatic, and I walked out mid-sentence. I didn't do a big goodbye. I didn't clear my drawers. I left my keys on the counter and just left. My whole body felt electric the whole drive home, like my skin didn't fit. That night, someone buzzed my unit over and over like they wanted me to come down and get punished for leaving. I didn't answer. I stood with my phone in my hand, staring at the intercom, listening to the buzzing cut off and start again, cut off and start again. The pattern wasn't frantic. It was steady, patient, like he had all night. I went to the door and pressed my eye to the peephole. Nobody stood there. Empty hallway. The kind of empty that doesn't calm you. It just tells you someone knows where the blind spot is. I backed away and checked the lock again. I dragged a chair toward the door, then stopped because it felt pathetic, then dragged it anyway because pride doesn't keep a door shut. The buzzing kept coming in waves. I didn't sleep. Every small sound in the building yanked my attention like a hook. Pipes ticking, elevator cables, someone's TV muffled through a wall. I kept thinking about those door photos and how he got them. Did he follow me? Did he wait for me to leave? Did he already try my handle? I kept picturing a phone held up inches from my lock, his hand steady, taking his time. Morning came like a slap. I opened my door a crack, ready to slam it, and there was a package sitting right outside. No label, no tracking sticker, just my name, written by hand, slow and careful, like he wanted me to picture him writing it. My legs went weak for a second. I looked up and down the hall. Nothing. I grabbed it fast, pulled it inside, locked the door, then stood there staring at it like it might start moving. Inside was a printed screenshot of my last gym post, and under it one line, "You block me online. You can't block a hallway."